Money, as we all know, makes a lot of things go round. One of those things happens to be the old game of golf. But money wasn't always a factor in golf. In fact, there used to be no money in golf. What we are trying to say is, if Jack Nicklaus earned just over $5.7 million for all of his 18 majors winning career, you can only imagine what life was like before him. Fast forward to the year 2022, the year a sudden financial earthquake of tremendous magnitude rocked the core of the golf world and changed its entire landscape. Golf's money revolution began in the late 90s, when a young American golfer named Tiger Woods became the most marketable sportsman on earth. After over 300 years of its existence, money, a whole ocean of it, flooded golf in a wink. Tiger eventually made over $1 billion for his glory and fame, but golf was the overall winner. The new money helped the PGA Tour solidify its place as the premier professional golf circuit in the world. Prize monies rose astronomically. And yeah, it's the type of money that can take you to space. For context, Corey Pavin earned $350,000 for winning the US Open in 1995, and Matt Fitzpatrick got $3.15 million for winning the same tournament in 2022. How time and dollar bills fly, right? The money got better year after year, but the PGA Tour's jolly ride only lasted until an unforeseen adversary showed up. In 2021, Greg Norman was announced as the CEO of LIV Golf Investments. The former world number one had first proposed a breakaway tour in the mid-90s, but lost the power tussle that came from it to former PGA Tour chairman Tom Fincham. This was him after he lost.
I'll be back.
He didn't just return, he was also better armed this time around. Of course, to go toe-to-toe with giants like the PGA Tour and the European Tour, you would need an Everest of cash. But exactly how much are we talking about? For this assignment, Greg Norman was entrusted with over $2 billion to start the LIV Golf Invitational Series. And no, it wasn't crypto. It was $2 billion in real money. The source of this money was none other than the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's a chip off the oil-rich nation's private investment fund, or the PIF. This is Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, which it has been throwing into various ventures for very good reasons. Much of the $320 billion in the sovereign wealth fund comes from the successful operations of Saudi Aramco, a company that made over $100 billion in net income in 2021 alone. As of October 2022, Saudi remains the largest oil producer among OPEC countries. The government knows they can either ride out their luck with black gold or take a cue from their neighbors in the UAE and plan for a future that's primed to be less dependent on fossil fuel. So the LIV Golf Series is just a portion of the grand scheme of the Saudi government, led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, to diversify its economy. And the Arabs are known for one thing: they are never shy to splurge that Arab money. But their golf investment has been met with heavy protest. In the contest against the legitimacy of the kingdom's foray into golf, a term has been making the media rounds. It's sports washing. What? How exactly do you wash an entire sport? Who's the soap and who's the sponge here? Well, it has to do with bathing, but imagine what it must take to clean up a whole country's image. Yeah, that must be very expensive. The theory of sports washing is basically that countries with poor human rights records host or sponsor lavish sporting events to paint over their atrocities and divert the world's attention from them. So, is Saudi the world's first sports washer? As much as they might look like its pioneers, they are not. In the past, other countries have been accused of staging sporting showcases to cleanse their sins. Russia's hosting of the FIFA World Cup in 2018, Beijing's 2022 Winter Olympics and Paralympics, and the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar have all received the infamous label. All of these host countries have several human rights allegations against them. In Saudi's case, the opposition has been due to their alleged mistreatment of women, unfriendly immigration policies, and the oppression of political enemies. The hot-button issue, however, is the 2018 murder of Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post journalist who was reportedly assassinated by operatives of the Saudi government inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. Besides funding the LIV Golf Series, the PIF has also pumped its oil wealth into other significant sports. In 2021, the PIF bought an 80% stake in English Premier League club Newcastle, Naturally, this raised a lot of concern until the governor of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, assured the league that the Saudi government will not be involved in the club's administration. As part of Saudi Arabia's plan to open up to the West, they have injected huge amounts into local sporting infrastructure as well. And why not? There aren't many reasons to take trips all the way to the Middle East that can beat the allure of sports. The King Abdullah Sports City in Jeddah and other massive sports centers have played host to some of the world's biggest sporting events in recent years. They include competitions involving some of the biggest European soccer teams, WWE wrestling events, and big money boxing bouts. So if other sports have no qualms about accepting the allegedly tainted money, why is golf responding differently? Golf for many years has been dominated by the PGA Tour, mainly because it's been the go-to place if you want to make money as a professional golfer. But LIV money has changed the game. Yeah, it has moved all the pins. To sway PGA Tour players to its side, LIV Golf has been offering them deals so good that turning them down will take the might of Zeus. And Greg Norman is not moving alone. LIV also enlisted another golf legend in the shape of Phil Mickelsonn to help sell its divisive product. Like Norman, Mickelsonn also had his grievances with the way the PGA Tour was run. And from the leaked conversation he had with Alan Shipnuck to Mickelsonn, LIV was just leverage for the players, and he wasn't even worried if the experiment failed. Although Mickelsonn made a public apology to everyone hurt by his statements, the consequences of his actions were already set. He lost virtually all his endorsements, but Lefty probably wouldn't miss them much since it reportedly cost LIV $200 million to get him on board. In comparison, his total career earnings stand at over $140 million on the PGA Tour. $200 million is enough money to start a war, and the veteran is the general mobilizing the rebellion. However, the aging legend is not the only one that has been bought over. Another man who made the move in the wee minutes of his career is Ian Poulter, a man famous for winning Ryder Cups and buying Ferraris. The Telegraph reported that Poulter was convinced to join the controversial startup for $22 million. This is for a player who has earned just over $55 million from his participation in thousands of rounds on the PGA and European tours. Like Poulter, Sergio Garcia, who says his decision was to secure the future of his family, also got an upfront payment of about $35 million according to Forbes. Apart from the old boys, some rising and established stars have also been lured away from the PGA Tour. Dustin Johnson was in the first batch of defectors. His deal is said to be worth $125 million, despite earning over $75 million in a career that has given him 24 PGA Tour titles. For joining the Rebel League, he also lost his deal with the Royal Bank of Canada. But seriously, they want him to open an account with them. Bryson DeChambeau, arguably the most exciting player on tour, also left for a guaranteed $125 million, in a deal potentially worth over $200 million. To show the extent to which LIV is extending its expensive invitations, James Piot, the 2021 U.S. Amateur Champion, a guy at the dawn of his career, was signed for a rumored $1 million. Now that's outrageous for a player with almost no commercial value. The guy had not even had his first year as a professional. And since we're discussing outrageous amounts, how much do you think LIV offered Tiger Woods? You probably guessed wrong. Tiger already made over $1 billion on his own, and the heads of LIV knew it would take something extraordinary to make him join Mickelsonn. Greg Norman himself confirmed that Tiger was offered a monstrous figure that has been reported to be in the region of $700 to $800 million. Tiger's rejection of this deal might be just the most expensive no ever said in the history of mankind. We are sure Tiger's reason for turning down the offer is the same way many feel about his monumental refusal.
That to me, I just don't understand.
Someone else turned down a heavy bag, and one would wonder why LIV tried it all. Receiving $100 million of Saudi money was not the worry of Jack Nicklaus, who was taking golf course design contracts from the country. It's the idea of putting his clout behind a rival league against something he helped create that made him shun the proposal. The PGA Tour has been in a frenzy as its players keep choosing LIV Golf's cheese over its cookies. Chairman Jay Monahan and his team have been forced to overhaul the monetary awards available on the PGA Tour. The FedEx Cup, Player Impact Program, and the Players' Championship, just to name a few, have reached record highs in purse sizes. They have also supported Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy's proposed tech-infused league that looks like a page from LIV's books. But even with all of these innovations, they know they can't match LIV's obscene numbers. In fact, it was one of the reasons cited in their countersuit against the new guys. They know they've lost the money war when the sign-on fees paid to the elite players were just tips of the ginormous icebergs that even the Titanic couldn't have missed. Every player participating in the LIV Golf Series gets guaranteed money. Why? Well, all the events are no-cut tournaments, which means everybody makes the cut, or doesn't. Flip that however you want it because cuts don't exist on the LIV Series. It means every player plays the full scheduled 3 days of 54 holes instead of the traditional 4-day 72-hole tournaments. What's more, the rounds are started in a shotgun format, which allows players to tee off at different holes at the same time. This way, they finish on time, and at the end of the 3rd day, due to the no-cut system, every player gets a piece of the money pie. So how much are LIV purses worth? Here's a clue. It's a lot more than the PGA Tour can afford. For its first year, LIV is having 8 events. Each of the first 7 tournaments, including the penultimate event at the Royal Greens Golf Club in Jeddah, comes with $25 million purses. As for the team championship finale at the Trump National Doral in Miami, it will be played for $50 million actual dollars. If our math is right, that's a total of $225 million across 8 events. If this is incredible, best believe the next numbers are insane. There's a $30 million bonus for the top 3 performers at the end of the season. Each top performer will take home $18, $8, and $4 million respectively. Just so you know, the 14-event calendar planned for 2023 is set to break bread worth $405 million among the players. Yo, that's a whole lot of dough, alright. Why PGA Tour players are running to the Saudi-backed league is obvious as the sun. They are chasing the bag, and many of them care less about the sanctions placed upon them by the big tours. They've been banned from playing in PGA Tour and European Tour tournaments and excluded from Ryder Cup events. The official World Golf Rankings does not recognize their games on the LIV Golf Series, and it's needless to add that they also don't earn FedEx Cup points. Yet, with its fate hanging in the balance, it's undeniable that LIV has completely transformed golf, and the old game's relationship with money will never be the same. If you enjoyed this video about how LIV money has changed golf, check out the video on the screen now, or the one we posted below. We're sure you'll like them too. See you there.